The last few years have found the Melvins' dynamic core of Buzz Osborne and Dale Crover touring and recording as a power trio, with recently tenured bass player Stephen Shane McDonald from veteran pop-centric hardcore punk icons Red Cross. Recently, however, Buzz and Dale decided to dial up the low end on their latest release and subsequent tour. Named Pincus Abortion Technician, the title of the Melvins' latest full-length itself provides a major spoiler as the band currently features a double dose of bass with the addition of the Butthole Surfer's own Jeff Pincus. May 19, 2018 found the Melvins taking over the Rex Theater in Pittsburgh's South Side Drinking District for a rumbling, near-subsonic performance. Accompanied by the eclectic stylings of Los Angeles' All Souls, the Melvins present a night of ultra-bottom-heavy interpretations covering their catalog. From their earliest sludge to their most recent sonic excursions, the Melvins never cease to amaze with their steadfast devotion to impactful heaviness and continued musical growth and expansion. Opening the show, Los Angeles-based All Souls and their varied musical din greet the assembling crowd. More than gracious with their time, the Melvins usually allow the opening band an extended set, and All Souls is no exception. Performing a 45-minute set, All Souls cover a lot of ground with their diverse sound. Backed by cavernous booming drums, the singer exhibits a style that finds common ground between Izzy Stradlin's laid-back sneer and Eddie Vedder's urgent vocal strain. One moment evokes the straightforward grunge of Pearl Jam, while another reminds of the slow bass harangue of Flipper. Noise-tinged expansion creeps in and out, and the band briefly displays a hint of stoner groove late in the set. Between bands, a selection of 60s and 70s rock amps up the crowd, with the MC5 and the Stooges placating the audience until the Melvins finally ascend the Rex Theater's stage. A dirty low end permeates the entire set, with both bassists grooving and grinding their way through a diverse set in which the Melvins continually find new ways to interpret their existing catalog. The addition of Jeff Pincus's bass only layers new levels of grit and earth-shaking depth to the songs. 2014's Sesame Street Meat starts the night with a caustic, bass-heavy scrape. Like a glacier scouring the sodden landscape, this bass-laden edition of the Melvins makes a marrow-shaking statement from the first rumble. At a crawl from the band's classic Ozma emerges from the demise of Sesame Street Meat. Twin bass from Misters Pincus and McDonald virulently foam and gurgle through the morass. As bright and cheery as the Melvins get, the kicking machine, with its quick-paced cadence, allows the drum legend Dale Crover to lead the charge on this post-millennial Melvins masterpiece. Turning to the band's eclectic cover song repertoire, recent live staple, Savior Machine, by the late, great David Bowie, continues to grace the setlist, and Stephen Shane McDonald takes the microphone for a Melvinized take on What They Say from Red Cross's 1987 release Neurotica. Anaconda, from the band's unbelievably mandatory album Bullhead, lurches through the Rex's 113-year-old halls. Once again, the added bass only creates extra dimensions of grit and grime to the band's sonic stew. Another seemingly left field, though completely appropriate cover follows, with a rousing and rocking rendition of the James Gang's 1969 track Stop. Next, Jeff Pincus's own history gets a quick audit as the band buoyantly bobs and bounces through the Butthole Surfer's classic Moving to Florida. After an absolutely beguiling run-through of Moving to Florida, the final cover of the night emerges with a surprisingly straightforward take on the Rolling Stones song Sway, originally found on the landmark 1971 album Sticky Fingers. Sway glides with an elastic swing as Jeff Pincus's vocals recommend a raw, crooning plea before a brief and eloquent solo from King Buzzo conducts the song to its culmination. Staggering bass and drums haul Let It All Be to a lurching start. Buzz's vocals bleat with a bellowing bite as the band scrape and plow forward through this premillennial track from 1999's The Bootlicker. Let It All Be skulks from the stage, bolstered by the double bass destruction swarming beneath. A slow-walking, noise-drenched drawdown closes the song, but opens the floodgates to the blurring dervish of Honeybucket from 1993's major label flirtation Houdini. Collapsing bass ruin pulls the listener under as a haranguing guitar and a drum blur viciously drag the audience with a predator's fury. Slowly chiming out of Honeybucket's demise, another mid-90s gem, The Bit, from the final album of the band's Atlantic Records triptych, 1996's Stag, spreads its bovine sludge with a crushing gravity. The gnashing and wailing that wrings the last breath out of The Bit soon begins a halting build to open Don't Forget to Breathe, a creeping, fetid little number from the band's latest album, 2018's Pincus Abortion Technician. Swamp-festered riff quicksand and backwoods vocal play only enhance the unsettled atmosphere further. The sole representative from the band's latest release, Don't Forget to Breathe, also evinces an unexpectedly menacing chorus, and a brief Southern Fried prog freakout arises in the song's closing moments. The deft drum work of the inimitable Dale Crover begins the next song. Joining in, Dale's cohorts begin to swarm in around his domineering pulse before launching into Onions Make the Milk Taste Bad from 2006. Diverging through a slow-burning exercise, a more expansive moment finds the band offering a brief detour through a bass-dense sludge raga before resuming the song's deceptively catchy verve. A caterwauling solo lords over Onion's penultimate clattering din before taking a distorted tumble into the beginning of The Talking Horse, a strident little ditty from the band's 2006 album A Senile Animal. Wreaking havoc with its battering propulsion, The Talking Horse quickly hits the crowd before the violently churning backwater of Evil New War God follows fast on its heels, called from the band's post-millennial string of buoyant, driving albums with Jared Warren and Cody Willis of Big Business providing bass and additional drums. Evil New War God offers disconcerted representation from 2010's outstanding The Bride Scream Murder. Unsettled momentum pushes Evil New War God forward until its decomposing close. Dale, setting the languid pace as a demented bass guitar warp, attracts the swarming pestilence of eye flies to round out the night's aural extravaganza. Eye Flies, from the band's debut full-length Gluey Porch Treatments, oozes from across 32 years of Melvins greatness. The pulsing exsanguination of this primeval Melvins classic builds with a slow and methodical inevitability. Rising and pounding to a frothing fervor, Eye Flies emerges in all of its brusque, sludge-scraping glory to bring the night to a grime-crusted close. After introducing the band, Dale Crover ends the night with a brief serenade of So Long, Farewell from The Sound of Music, as this bottom-heavy variant on the Melvins take their leave of the stage. Another eclectic interpretation of the band's wide and varied catalog, whether dredging up the past for modern evaluation or presenting their latest musical mutation, the Melvins never cease to enthrall. Joining the enigmatic circus master Buzz Osborne and his longtime Gale Force drum wizard Dale Crover are Stephen Shane McDonald on bass and the man, the myth, the miscreant Jeff Pincus on additional low-end emissions. Double the bass, double the damage as the subsonic Melvins quartet rumble the rafters and fry the already twisted sensibilities of the Melvins Army's Pittsburgh division in attendance. Throughout an 18-song set spanning over 30 years, the band still managed to provide solid representation for 12 albums and a whole cadre of influences, with the first half of the set being dominated by a varied series of cover songs, punctuated by diversions into the band's own back catalog. The second half of the show roars with subsonic glee through a diverse scattershot of the band's storied discography. Always an exciting experience, the Melvins consistently deliver a vibrant interpretation of their past work while maintaining an outstanding level of creative quality and intent throughout their most recent output.